disembodied, no form awareness, having an experience. Like a Central American shaman said, we are perceivers, we are awareness, we are not objects, we have no solidity. We, or rather our reason, forget this, and thus we entrap the totality of ourselves in a vicious circle from which we rarely emerge in our lifetime. And that vicious circle is what the control system wants to keep us in, because then we're controllable.
When we say I'm doing some kind of spiritual practice or following spirituality, what it means is I'm actually finding out who I am. What am I? Who am I? Where did I come from? What am I doing here on this earth? And where will I go? You're actually demystifying these concepts yourself by realizing who you are.
Eventually you'll get to the point where you'll probably experience the truth of who you really are, as opposed to the illusion that you believe you are. You know, you believe you're this physical body, you believe that you are your thoughts or whatever. The truth of it is you're the source of all those things. You're the source of your thoughts. You're the source of your body. You're the source of all your emotions. You're the place from which all that comes. But we've been tricked into believing, for whatever reason, that we are these things. But we're not these things. We're actually the creator of those things.
We are nothing short of divine. We are undifferentiated consciousness. As we remember who we are and acquiring more powers, we are learning that we are co-creators in this experience and what is about to happen.
Enlightenment really means you become aware what you really are. You become aware that you're one with God and that you are God.
Well, like a drop is to an ocean. You put a drop of water in the ocean and it becomes the ocean. Well, that's what we are. We are units of divinity. We are deific atoms, units of God. And that's what the scriptures say. We are sons of God, in that sense. So it's beautiful.
Far from being worthless, we are unique and vital droplets in this ocean of consciousness we call God or creation. This God, as we call it, is not some guy with a beard sitting on a throne saying you have sinned and you shall be punished, or somebody out there. It's actually within us, it's around us, it is everything. It is the consciousness that is expressing itself in all the variety of forms that we see. Obviously we are at a different level of consciousness to a wall, but it's still, the wall is still God at a different level of consciousness. It's still the same whole.
Doesn't matter which race, culture everyone is confined to, but the same God which resides in me resides in everyone. And when one realizes the God within us, he can see the God within everyone.
You never see positive drug stories on the news, do you? Isn't that weird? Since most of the experiences I've had on drugs were real fucking positive. Who are these morons they're finding? That's what I want to know. How about a positive LSD story? Wouldn't that be newsworthy just once? To base your decision on information rather than scare tactics and superstitions and lies? Just once. I think it would be newsworthy. Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There's no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we're the imagination of ourselves. Here's Tom with the weather.
The body is the way our awareness experiences this reality. If I want to interact with this reality, which is a frequency range, I have to have an outer shell, we all do, that vibrates within this frequency range, because our consciousness is vibrating much too quickly. It's like radio 1 trying to make connection to radio 2. They're on different wavelengths, never going to happen. So we take on this outer projection we call a body, and therefore I can pick this up and interact with this reality. What the control system wants us to do is to believe that that projection, that vehicle to experience this reality, is who we are, because then we go from I am all that is, has been, and ever will be. I'm Charlie Smith, I'm Ethel Jones, I've got no power. It's the whole bottom line of it.
The United States has 2 satellites. They're called the GOES, G-O-E-S. The role of these satellites is to measure the magnetic fields of the Earth and send back readings every 30 minutes. And those readings normally fall within a certain range of data that scientists are relatively used to seeing. Well, it was in September of 2001 that scientists began to see some readings that were off the map, just off the scale compared to what they'd seen in the past. And they said, well, what's happening? What is it that could be influencing the magnetic fields of the entire planet to such a degree that we're seeing these big spikes that our satellites are sending back? We've never seen these before.
Just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building, and there's been another collision. Can you see it? I can see it on the shot.
Oh my God.
Something else has just been.
They overlaid the data from the satellites onto a calendar of months and days, and lo and behold, what they found is that the spike was occurring precisely during the time of September 11th, 2001. And even more precisely, that the first spike occurred 15 minutes after the first plane hit the first tower in the World Trade Center. Now, the reason this is so important to a scientist is because for 300 years, our science has been based on 2 false assumptions. The first false assumption is that everything is separate from everything else, that what happens in one place has no effect on what happens anywhere else, and if it looks like it does, it's only a coincidence. The second false assumption is that our inner experiences of thought, feeling, emotion, and belief have no effect on the world beyond our bodies. Based on those 2 false assumptions that have been accepted for 300 years by scientists, I can see why there would be a disconnect when they're looking at magnetic fields of the Earth spiking precisely the moment the human emotion of the planet is focused on a disaster.